Welcome to Asian Book Club, where we highlight Asian and Asian American authors. We are your hosts,
Jamae and Sabangan.
and I'm Stephen Park. And today we do bring you the third read of The Holiday Switch by Tiff Marcello. But we also wanted to wish you a happy holidays.
Yes, happy holidays. We hope that you're having a gentle and easeful start to the holiday season.
Yep. And hopefully it's not stressful. Hopefully you're having more fun and reflecting on kind of the good of the holidays, whether that be with the people that you know or simply just the time that you have to yourself. But whatever it is that gets you excited about the holidays, I'm hoping that you're finding the good in that.
Definitely. And if you don't celebrate any holidays, we hope that you're having the time to reflect at the end of this year and looking forward to the next year.
Mm-hmm. One of the things that people do look for around this time of the year is gifts, though.
Mm-hmm.
So nowadays, I don't think I get as many gifts. I think just being older, it's not something that we tend to do for each other as much, and not as much you and I, but like me and my parents, me and my brother. I don't know, you and your siblings are really far away, so it's harder to actually exchange gifts.
Right. And we don't usually give each other extravagant gifts to begin with.
hmm With that said, though, I do sometimes get smaller gifts from either patients, clients, people that I somewhat know.
Mm-hmm.
And whether it's someone I know or don't know, the act of receiving a gift and knowing what to do after that always seems extremely awkward for me.
Hmm.
And I don't know if that's just a me thing or if that's an everyone thing.
Well, I've come to the point where unless the person tells me they want me to open it in front of them, I would just thank them and say that I'll open it later.
Yeah, I even ask, is it okay if I open this later? Even if it's a card. Sometimes, I don't know, it's just weird to read someone's emotions in front of them.
Hmm.
So I never know what to do because I don't know what my reaction should be. Like if someone's like happy holidays and then the rest of the information is from the card, like I don't know how to react. It was a very thoughtful thing that you gave this to me, but also there's not much else added into this. It's just cards for me are just a piece of paper.
I disagree. Usually, when I receive cards, it's heartfelt and they're from my friends whom I've known for a long time. So for me, cards mean a little bit more.
Well, what about a card from a friend that you've known for a long time where all you see on the inside is already printed happy holidays and they just tag their name?
I only know one person who's done that to me.
Mm-hmm. But what if you get that?
Well, then, thank you.
Right? Like you don't really know what to do from there on.
Right.
The other hard part is if you do get it from a friend or someone that you know that they write out a very thoughtful message and so it spans the entire card, or even if it's short, but there's so much depth to it, then what are your emotions after that? Like, you can hug them, but I don't know, it doesn't feel like it fully expresses the depth of thought that they put into that card.
That's fair, but I usually respond to them as if I'm responding to the card with another card rather than writing a thank you card. You know what I mean?
Right. But I don't know. I just don't feel like I can, at that point and moment in time, fully give the expression that is necessary for gratitude, which is why it's hard for me to want to open a card in front of someone.
That's fair. It feels rushed because they had time to write the card while you are only given that few seconds between reading it and responding.
Also, as you're reading this message, they're just staring at you and standing there,
Hmm.
which is also awkward.
So you're just trying to avoid all awkwardness.
Yeah, absolutely. There's also the thing of like gifts. Like the other day, a patient of mine gave me a box of donuts, which is very nice.
Hmm.
My first thought is I can't probably eat this because of the dairy in it,
Mm-hmm.
which I'm not telling the person at all. The second part was when I got into the office, I was like, okay, I'll risk it. I'll take a bite. And it was a really bad donut. It just did not taste good. And I had a coworker try it, and I didn't want to persuade her, so she tried it without me saying anything. She also thought it wasn't good. So it's just hard to reflect and properly respond. I mean, I'll say thank you. I'll try to be as grateful as possible because whether it's a good donut, a bad donut, $1,000 gift. Like recently, I had a patient give me a baseball hat from the World Series for the Dodgers that his brother had gone to. I was like, this is extremely nice. And I don't feel like I can show enough emotions to show how thankful I am for something like that.
I get that.
So then it feels like I am in depth of thanks for that person,
Mm,
which is why I hate opening presents in front of people.
that's fair.
But for those of you who are on the other side of this dilemma and need to find a good present for someone, Jamae is going to be able to help you by figuring out where you can get good presents, and that's going to be our recommendation for the week.
Our recommendation for the week is bookshop.org and libro.fm. Whether or not you celebrate the holidays, some of the best gifts you can give are books. And sometimes we don't know which book to give a person, so giving the person the gift of choice through a gift certificate or a gift card is one way to do so. And you can do that by going to either bookshop.org or getting credit bundles from libro.fm and selecting a particular bookstore to support. For example, you can support 27th Letter Books, Belcanto Books, Femfire Books, Green Bean Books, Loyalty Bookstores, Wacoma Bookstore, or You and Me Books. These are all AAPI owned bookstores, and you can find them all on bookshop.org and libro.fm.
Yep, and that's going to be our recommendation for the week. Okay, so our third read of The Holiday Switch by Tiff Marcello. Within this read, we read pages 177 through 261, which were chapters 18 through 27, plus the epilogue.
Mm-hmm.
What did we know going into this read?
Going into this read, we knew that Lila and Teddy were butting heads until sparks started to fly. Also, Lila was caught between deciding to stick to her pre-med plans or shifting to her writing dreams.
Yeah, and coming to this ending, we start to see the resolution of everything that happens. Well, not only starting to see the resolution, but we get the final resolve of the characters, at least as much as we can.
Mm-hmm.
That is going to revolve around our two main characters, the first of which that we're going to talk about is Teddy.
Mm-hmm. And Teddy was the smart, but almost too smart for himself character.
Yep, got himself into a lot of trouble. He still did things that were shady. Like something that came out in this read was how little he would tell Tita Lu about the things that he was doing.
Right.
And it's one thing to be kind of like mysterious and dark, but he was probably straight up going out to all these different events and places without her having any idea where he was.
Right. Rather than just being a private person, he was just being a very secretive person.
Yeah, and it doesn't seem like she was ever opposed to anything that he was doing. She obviously wants the best for him and to care for him, which then involved the thing that he was actually doing, which
Mm-hmm.
was rock climbing.
Right. And rock climbing so that he can enter a competition.
Yep. The reason why this was not accepted for Teddy, mainly by his parents, was because he has a background and a medical history involving concussions and likely some variation of a brain injury
Mm-hmm.
that makes his parents very worried about his safety when he's doing events like this.
Right. And so he had to hide it from Tita Lu because he thought that she might spill it to his parents.
Yep. With that, his reputation was kind of going down in town. We're eventually going to talk about Lily and Teddy's relationship, but with that, it led to Lila's mom having speculations about Teddy just from what she was hearing from Tita Lu.
Mm-hmm.
And what we finally get to understand and being able to see the perspective of what Teddy's doing is that one is he's trying to do what he loves and trying to pursue living a life that fulfills him.
Mm-hmm.
But two is that he's just a kid. I mean, he's
Yes.
still a college age teenager because he would probably be 18, 19 at the time,
I think so.
maybe 20 at most. And he's just trying to figure out what life is. And for him at this current moment, his life and joy come from rock climbing.
Mm-hmm. And he turns out to be a very sweet person.
hmm And that's probably one of the reasons why things start to change. He
Mm-hmm.
starts to become more accepted by, I guess, Tita Lu as one person. I mean, she seemed to have cared for him, but I think she is able to understand him better, knowing what he's actually doing.
Right.
And in the end of the book, we also see that Lila's parents, to a certain extent, embrace him as part of one of them,
Mm.
saying that we never leave our family behind.
Mm-hmm.
So, vis-a-vis, he would be considered family at this point.
Right, because there was that moment in the after Christmas party where he was kind of initiated through karaoke.
Right. Which is a very Filipino thing.
Yes.
But it's also weird because I don't know if they mean a part of the family as in he is someone that's dating their daughter, or a part of the family as in he's like a cousin. Like, not blood cousin, but like we know everyone around him kind of cousin.
Yeah.
So I don't, it might make the relationship a little weird between Teddy and Lila.
I mean, it was very ambiguous. I think it was up to the readers to figure out what kind of relationship this family is.
Fair. We do go into then seeing Lila's development.
Mm-hmm.
We find out that she is able to get those interviews for the book galley. By the end of the read, we see that she's actually gone pretty far in the interview process.
Mm-hmm.
But more so, one of the things we find out is in the beginning of her looking into the book galley, we get confirmation that Santa with a something.
Santa with a View.
Yeah, Santa with a View is Teddy.
Yes.
So this became one of the secrets that eventually got exposed, which then led to Lila's secret being brought out right in front of her mom.
Mm-hmm.
And that created this whole dissonance in what Lila's life was, which previously was her going down a route thinking that everything was okay, but carrying all these secrets with her to, in a metaphorical sense, her car kind of coming to a crash and everything falling out and all of her secrets being exposed.
Exactly. And the big secret was the blog.
Yep. And beyond that blog, it wasn't just that she was writing, it was the fact that she was hiding this internet usage, which is a
Mm-hmm.
big safety concern for her family from past experiences.
Right.
It also meant that she wasn't truly telling her parents what she had wanted, and that was the big disappointment that came from her mother.
Mm-hmm. Because all along, her parents both thought that she wanted to be in pre med, which she might still do. But her current joy, like you said, is in writing because she's good at it.
Yeah, and one of the things that her mom says is the biggest disappointment is in the fact that you didn't allow us to have these thoughts. You assumed all of these things from me and your father, like her
Mm-hmm.
mom and her father, in thinking that they wouldn't want to support her in doing these things.
Mm-hmm.
They told her their problems and issues are their own, their concerns with internet safety and all that stuff are their own. She is an individual, and her parents want to be able to support her in the things that she wants to do.
Mm-hmm.
She then says that she's very proud of Lila, which I was like, this seems off.
It made me, when it happened, it made me sad.
Yeah, it makes us all sad. I think this is why this book is fiction.
But you said before that your parents tell you all the time that they're proud of you.
They don't tell me all the time. So they are proud of me for certain things,
Mm-hmm.
but I was never enough for them when it came to studying. Even if I had gotten A pluses, I think there was a way for me to disappoint my parents in doing that.
Mm.
I think my choice in education of going into the PT route was a disappointment for them.
Mm.
So they do tell me that they're proud of me in different things sometimes, but when it comes to things that for them truly matter, like education, it was never enough. Like I had a 4.3 or something GPA coming out of high school. I think it was even more than that. And it still wasn't enough. Like it was a part of being what they expected me to be and not being able to ever live up to what that might be.
Mm.
But in the case of Lila and her mom, Lila is clearly enough. She is being supported in her endeavors and what she wants to do.
For sure.
That is her story. That is what she's going to be doing next. She is going to decide to go to college and see if she gets into this book galley internship fully. But let's talk about the real reason we're here because their individual stories are one thing. However, the main topic of discussion is the holiday switch, and that involves both characters of Lila and Teddy.
Yes, their relationship in this third act blossomed.
Mm-hmm.
And in it, we see so many kilig moments, like the Mission Holly where they took pictures with Santa and Teddy's hand was on Lila's shoulder. When they went ice skating, where Lila was the one guiding Teddy. And in my mind, in that moment, I was like, wow, I can't be that person.
Mm-hmm.
And another colleague moment is when Lila convinces Teddy to finally watch the movie Holiday by the Lake, which he ends up enjoying.
Yeah, they are able to formulate these moments in a short period of time. It is them being able to bond over all of these holiday events that bring them so close together.
Yes.
They also do end up going through their first kiss together.
Yes, it was so cute. Like, at this point, this was the most killing moment. Like, not only was I blushing, but I felt all the flutters in my stomach.
That's cool. It was good. It was fine. I don't know. I like this book. I think it was very lighthearted. I think it was very fun. I think it felt like something I was reading more than I was feeling, though.
Mm,
So along that route, Lila and Teddy get together. They are going their separate routes, like we talked about. Like Teddy is gonna have this whole adventure of trying to be more open and honest with his parents and figure out what rock climbing means in terms of his life and having his parents accept that.
mm-hmm.
And Lila is going to figure out what she's going to do in terms of her studies and kind of her career and where she goes next. And together they're going to figure out what that relationship means.
Right, and it's possible for them to figure it out because they're essentially going to Syracuse together.
Right. But overall, what are we thinking about this book? Like, how did you feel? What were the moments that clicked with you? And did you have anything that particularly stuck out with the book?
What I feel about the book is that it was a sweet holiday read. It was definitely something that you can curl up in a blanket with hot cocoa on the side and just drink in the whole book in one sitting. Like, if it wasn't for us breaking it down, I think I would have done that.
Mm-hmm. It's a very straightforward, easy read in terms of what it provides. It's very lighthearted. It is very cozy. It gives the vibe of what it is to be in December and start to enter those winter seasons.
Mm-hmm.
I love the book for a lot of reasons, but I do think the Keeling moments hit you differently. And it's not this book. I think it's just all not romance books, but like the lovey-dovey kind of books
Yeah, absolutely.
that do hit you more so in one way than it hits me.
Hmm.
But it doesn't mean that I don't sit back and just enjoy the read and be able to listen to all the cuteness that's kind of going on.
Fair. I think that for me, the most memorable killing moment is the harness moment, which I believe is where the feeling sparked for them both.
Hmm.
Do you have a moment that sticks out to you?
I don't think I have a moment that sticks out particularly. I think it's the vibe that I enjoy from the book. Like when
Mm,
I look at the book as a whole, I know what happened, but it's much more the entirety of the content that makes me feel a joy rather than thinking about the particular parts.
mm.
Is there anyone that you think of when you think of this book? Like, is there anyone that you would recommend this book to?
Yes, I would absolutely recommend this book to my sister, especially the audiobook form. I think she would be able to read it through that way.
I think that this book has a lot of joy and lightness. So, for anyone that's going through a hard time or feels like they just need to be in a different place that's a little bit more soft, a little bit more feeling, I think this book might be good for you just to get yourself out of whatever discomfort may be around you.
Mm-hmm.
With that said, that wraps up The Holiday Switch by Tiff Marcello. It is going to round out the end of the season for us. This is the book that will leave 2024 as we go into 2025. Our next episode is going to be our Outlook episode where we get to reflect and look back on what we've accomplished for this year, but also
Mm-hmm.
what we're looking to accomplish for next year.
Yes.
With that said, we'll talk about our hints into our next book in the next episode. But I would say a fresh start and a new year are maybe a good thing for something to reflect on as we look into the next book that we're going to read.
Yes.
For those that are excited about everything that happened this year and things to look forward to, if you enjoyed this book, if you have other holiday books that you really like, we'd love to actually hear from you because that was something that me and Jamae kind of had some difficulty finding are good holiday reads.
By Asian and Asian American authors specifically.
Right. Very particularly that, because that is who we are.
Yes.
Then go ahead and email us. And if people did want to reach out to us, how can people do so?
You can email us at asianbookclubpod@gmail.com or reach out to us on Instagram at asianbookclubpod.
We also have our website, which is asianbookclubpod.com, which has our bookshop with books that we've read in the past, books that we recommend, and books that we plan to read in the future.
And a great way to support us is to rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast.
Otherwise, make sure to be happy, be healthy, and read a book.
Ingat! Bye!